afternoon and welcome to African Hour. My name is Fru Nkimben. It is an honor and a privilege for me. I have two important guests on African Hour, and former mayors Rita Mercier and Mayor Rodney Elliott.
Nice to see you, Fru.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. I would like to thank you very much, and also to tell our audience, and particularly those of you who are watching from Ground Zero in Cameroon, and particularly Bamenda, that Mayors Rita Mercier and Rodney Elliott have stood by the people of Bamenda and the people of Southern Cameroon since the 90s. I recall very well that in 2002, to be very specific, November 5th, 2002, then Mayor Rita Mercier, you put a resolution supported by then Councillor Rodney Elliott to establish a transatlantic relationship between Bamenda and Lowell. And that is when our journey between Bamenda and Lowell started, because of you two, and it is my honor that we have come this far. And the people of Bamenda are your fans. They are very, very enamored with you. Most of the videos I send them around the world, and they would really want to acknowledge and appreciate your support for them, for welcoming our king here twice and making him an honorary member of the City Council, and also welcoming the interim president, President Sisiko Ayok Julius, who visited the City Hall. And when the Cameroon president declared war on Cameroon, on the English Cameroon, on November 30th, 2017, Councillor Rita, you submitted a resolution, and also sponsored by Councillor Rodney Elliott, to condemn the killing of people in Ambazonia. That was picked up. I remember Mayor Kennedy read your resolution on the air when I presented it and put it on YouTube. BBC took it and was calling people all over the world and asking questions that a city in America, in Lowell, the City Council has voted to condemn the killing of people in Southern Cameroon. How come? But that was just how compassionate you've been and with the people of Ambazonia. So it is my honor to welcome both of you. If you could just look at the mirror and tell your fans all over the world, and particularly in Bamenda in the Southern Cameroon.
Well, I would say that Lowell, Massachusetts in the United States, we're very, very rich. Not in money, but we're rich in ethnic diversity. And we try to take everyone under our wing. And when we realize that one particular part of the community is suffering, I know that you're here in the United States, but your heart is back with your homelands. Just as many years ago as my father was a young man, and he came to this country at 7 years old, and he missed his homeland as well. So I can relate to that. And what we try to do is help in any way that we can, as Councillor Elliott and I so nobly did, and we were glad to do it, whatever we could to assist the people in Cameroon. That is what we did. We got a resolution together. We appealed to the government to please stop the atrocities that are happening. Our heart goes out to you and your people in Cameroon, as well as the people in the English-speaking side who are being so horribly tortured and things. This isn't right. This isn't what this country is all about. That's why people get killed trying to come here. They risk everything they have. to come to the land that is free, free of being afraid to be shot. This is what we strive for in this country. I wish that we could do the same in your country. Although we can pray, that's very important to pray. We can offer encouragement in whatever we can do to assist. And these are the things that we want to give a message to your people, that we're with you 100%. Our heart is broken for you. I say just keep going and don't give up. If you feel you're right, just keep fighting, and it's sad, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Councillor Rita. Councillor Elliott, we organized a peaceful rally here in Lowell, and you were really at the head of in front row, holding Ambazonian flag and sending a powerful message that the government should not be killing innocent people. The Ambazonian people have been, when they watch those images, they said they really want you to share with them what really moves you to advocate for them thousands of miles, that you have never met them, but you are standing up for them.
Well, as Councillor and former Mayor Rita Mercier mentioned, you know, the United States and right here in City Hall, we're free. We don't agree on everything, but we're free to speak the opinions that we have, freedom of expression. It was an honor for me to join you and to support the resolution that Councilor Mercier put forward to send a message to people around the world and the perpetrators in Cameroon that it's not acceptable. What moved me to join the peaceful protest and the march down Merrimack Street on that beautiful day were the images that the protesters brought of people being beaten, people being killed, people being dragged through the streets, villages being burned. You know, that's not the way that we conduct ourselves clearly here in the United States. So I think being an advocate, using what voices that we have as elected officials for people around the world, quite frankly. Councilor Mercier and I went to Cambodia a number of years ago, and at that time there were 10 women that were put in jail just because the government took their land. They had no place to go, and they simply protested against the government, and they threw them in jail. And when we were there, we visited them. So I know there are some questions you're going to ask us, and I'll respond in the future on these, but we came back and we wrote a letter to the Secretary of State, and we got members of Congress involved and let them know. And believe it or not, at the time it was Secretary of State Kerry. He responded to our letter and communicated with the government in Cambodia. And I'd say about a month later, whether our letter made a difference or not, but they released these 10 women, and it was something that we did. So I just feel both of us, Councilor Mercier say pray, and whatever we can do to help, then we use, and I think the best thing that's happened in the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, or that's as long as I've been kind of technology proficient, is you mentioned YouTube and the internet. That's a very powerful way to get the message out and let people know what's going on. We used to have to rely on newspapers, but now instantaneously you can get images and video of people on their phone, letting people know this is not, it's real, and this is what's happening in the country. So I'm sure we'll talk a lot about this, but you say it's an honor. It's an honor for us to be able to speak up for people thousands of miles away that are censured and can't express themselves, can't protest. So we're here. We'll be a voice as long as we can be a voice.
Well, thank you very much. You know that you welcome the interim president when he visited the city of Lowell, and you showed him around the city hall. And when he went back, all his cabinet were arrested in Nigeria and thrown in jail. They have been in jail now for 3 years. You see, so, I mean, when I hear you say that you went to Cambodia and then finally you came back and both of you wrote a letter to the Secretary of State and it got their release, that is really, I mean, those are things that you fight for people that are not part of your family, but just because you have of the goodness of your heart and that, as they said, injustice somewhere is injustice everywhere. So I think our people will really have hope, and particularly the people in jail. Interim President Sisiko Ayok Tabe, whom you received here, would really be very, very happy to hear those. And he actually sent his greetings that I should greet both of you, and that even though they are in jail, they know that people like you are out here fighting for their freedom, and they will never forget that. So these are some of the some questions that when I said I was going to meet and interview you, the people sent to me. One is the people of Bamenda and Southern Cameroon would like to know why you are so passionate and to advocate strongly for their suffering. I think you have already answered that one. Then they were like they said, would you visit Southern Cameroon now the Republic of Ambazonia after the restoration of our independence?
Yes, we certainly would. Former Mayor and City Councilor Rodney Elliott and I traveled to Cambodia. We paid for it ourselves, and we wanted to feel what the people have witnessed and gone through. We went to the different sites like Angkor Wat. We went to the killing fields. We could feel the compassion and the sadness as what took place there years ago, because we talk to people and we meet them and we listen to their stories. And we went to the concentration camps, the refugee camps. We went to the Tuol Sleng prison. It was a former school that was transformed into a prison. People were brought there and killed there and tortured there, and we felt all this. We put ourselves in the places of what the people that came to our city escaped from. It was horrendous. So, you know, it's a shame that people have to live in this world of such freedom in other countries and be taken into, you know, stuff where they're prisoners and tortured. This is not the way that it should be. That's why we have this compassion. This is not the way life should be for people.
Fru, you know my support. I'm with Council Mercy, aware of traveling companions. I reached out to you. I think it was several months. Maybe it was right before the celebration. I would like to go to Cameroon to visit the people in Bamenda and Ambazonia. And if we were allowed to go, I think it would be a powerful message, because we would take video and we would visit these people. We would ask to see the interim president and perhaps be denied, but that's okay. We come back and we report to the U.S. Congress and to the U.S. Senate and quite frankly, the Secretary of State. I mean, we wrote that letter, as I mentioned before. You can't be bashful to do this and bring attention, call attention, because there are Americans here who have families in Cameroon, and their voice should be heard. So I think it would be a great opportunity. I don't know when the restoration would be, but we wouldn't be afraid to go even before that, because that could be a long time. I personally think that that would be a way for us to bring a very powerful message back here to the United States.
Thank you. Hearing those words, and our leaders in jail, when they hear those words, I think it will keep their hopes alive and give them some thing to look forward to. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
And if I could also educate our viewers who are non-Southern Cameroonians, that Southern Cameroon was the first democratic country in Africa to have its independence in 1950. From 1953 to 1957, they had 3 democratically elected governments without any peacefully. But the French Cameroon, since 1960 till today, they've had only one person ruling. So that shows a difference in the two cultures. So right now, as we are speaking, hundreds of villages have been burnt, schools have been burnt, hospitals have been burnt, patients burnt alive. And as we are speaking right now, they are going ahead, the president from the French Cameroon is going ahead to conduct a parliamentary election. And guess what he is doing? He's driving everyone by burning the villages. They are running into the bush, and then they are running to Nigeria as refugees. And then he is bringing in his own people from the French side to the cities and the army, so that next week they will go and vote, and he will take these pictures and tell the world that people in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon have voted to endorse him to stay in power, which is very, very a lie. And I would really want the world to know that is what he is doing now, killing people and burning villages and sending them out so that he can bring his own people to vote. It's only in America that people vote in a very peaceful, vote their hearts and soul, but in Cameroon it is by the battle of the gun.
That's terrible.
So I have this other question. This was from the leaders in jail. Our leaders in jail send you greetings and thank you for advocating for their release, and ask that you should you use your power to rally the good people of Lowell and American government to put pressure on Mr. Paul Biya, that's the president, to end the killing of innocent Southern Cameroonians. So I think they would be very, very happy to hear that you are really advocating for them, and that you are looking forward to even visit Cameroon, Southern Cameroon, when we get our independence, which it's inevitable. Is there anything that you want to tell them in jail? You welcome them in the city. They are not. They would be very willing.
Fru, do you not have an ambassador from the United Nations, from the government, that goes over there to see if everything's right? Like we do in other countries, we have ambassadors of the United States that go over and represent country to other countries. Do you have? Oh,
the U.S. ambassador in Cameroon has condemned, and actually it is interesting to know that President Trump actually suspended money aid to Cameroon, and also ended the military training in Cameroon. So at the higher level, you really see that the American government, they are doing a lot. And it also goes by saying that if we can contact our senators, our Congress people, yes, to put more pressure, then they will really stand up for the voiceless in Southern Cameroon. And since Lowell has a direct relationship with Bamenda, which is the economic capital of the Southern Cameroon, it makes a lot of sense that the City Hall, the two of you are championing this from this end.
Well, what message would we send to the people in jail? I would send a message of hope. Don't give up hope. you know, you're the leader of the country fighting, you know, what seems to be a dictatorship. We're here to support you every way that we can. In what ways can we do that? I think we spoke a little bit about that, but I have to say, I think visiting and capturing the video and us coming back, I think that is one way to do it. I don't know if it's, I'm glad to hear the question Council Mercier asked about, you know, an ambassador. Is there an embassy in Cameroon? And there is. So it's not as if we can't go and visit and be vocal. So I think that's a way. But you know, to the people in jail, don't ever give up hope, because there's thousands and millions of people that are counting on you.
Another way to start laying that ground is for maybe a motion to send a letter from the city council to the ambassador, the American ambassador in Cameroon, that you have citizens of Southern Cameroon and Bamenda that are in Lowell, and that we are sister city, and we cannot just stand on the side and see you kill our sisters and brothers from our city in Bamenda. That is not good. So I think that would be wonderful.
Okay.
And at the same time, we should send like the same letters to like Congresswoman Larry Trahan, and that's what we did before when we come home. Letters were written. I visited Nikki Songus at the time. She was our congresswoman, and she pledged that she would do all she could. And so I'd like to believe that the effort that we put forward paid off to release those women from that prison.
Okay, thank you very much. I think being in Lowell, I have the privilege that I have learned from both of you what civil engagement is all about. During the city council election, I think what I've learned is that you have to go out and canvass, you have to go out and show that you are part of the community,
right,
that to have your voice heard. There is this question that I would like to, maybe for you, to share your wisdom to Ambazonians who are in this country, that what should Southern Cameroonians in America do to educate and engage American people and government about the war in Southern Cameroon? I ask these questions because I always hear from amongst Southern Cameroonians that the media in this country doesn't carry the atrocities that are going on in Cameroon. Then I ask them, have you brought your pain to the media? It is the patient that goes to the hospital to meet the doctor. You cannot sit only in your comfort zone and talk amongst yourself and expect that Americans who are so kind-hearted that they will come and help you. You need to go out and be involved and let them know. So what advice or what lessons can you tell them to be able, that they should do so that Americans and people around the world should know that our people are being slaughtered on the ground?
Well, do you have a national network whereby through the United States you can keep in contact with people from Cameroon and other parts of the country so that you join forces together? Because, you know, my philosophy is there's strength in numbers, and if you can gather all the people through networking, and then you could lobby as a whole instead of a little bit here and a little bit there. If you get everybody together, that would be good.
I was talking like the lesson that I've learned with you are here talking now. Means I have, in my own little way, left my Cameroonian community and come to you and told
That's
you
right.
that, you know, my people are suffering.
Sure.
But our people, we talk to ourselves too much, but we don't reach out
That's right.
to
We have
our
to do
host
that.
people and tell them that since you are so generous, to welcome us and make us feel part of this city. If you are in California, if you are in Texas, if you are in England, it's good that you talk to the people who are hosting you. Because if you don't let them know that this is what is happening in Cameroon and just sit and blame the media for not carrying it, how will the media know if you don't contact them?
Did you ever hear of this saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease?
I heard that, yes.
We should all be the squeaky wheel, because then if we petition the media and we squawk enough, maybe they'll hear us and say, well, let's see what's at the bottom of this. So maybe that's a way to do it. I don't know. That was.
So can I ask you, we know there's Cameroonians that live in Lowell. Do you know about how many? And second, where else in the country or the state is there a population of Cameroonian people?
Cameroonians are scattered all over this country. Most of us came here through education, and most of us finished education and could not go back because of the conditions back at home. But our mind is really.
So can I ask you, is there, considering there's people all over the country, Council Mercy brought up a very good point. Is there a Facebook page that somebody has started to post recent videos of the atrocities that are taking place?
Yes, most of the atrocities are collected and saved for posterity, because we know that after this war, the perpetrators have to be brought to justice.
Because I think even the national media, everybody monitors the social media now, whether it's YouTube or Facebook is the most popular, Instagram, Twitter account. I think Twitter, you look at the president, he has over 52 million followers. So when he puts a message out, or any other member of Congress, they have Twitter's account, they get that message out, and then the media watches Twitter or Facebook. And I think that's how you get your message out. And I think it's a matter of somebody organizing the effort to get all the followers. And then you don't just get Cameroonian people, you get people like me and Council Mercy that follow, and then we see it come up on the phone. This is terrible, look at what's happening, look what's happening. I think that's a suggestion where sometimes we used to think, oh, just send information to the media, but now the media is in everybody's hands.
That's very true.
And here's another thing. It's one thing if Councilor Elliott and myself, we ask that letters be sent to the Congresswoman and to the Secretary of State. That's just one state. If you could give that message to all your networking, then their respective cities, they could do the same thing. And so instead of having one letter, you have a lot of letters, and there's strength in numbers again that I say. It isn't just about Lowell, it's about every city or town within the United States that is lobbying together with letters, you see? So that's what I would suggest.
Well, thank you very much. I hope my fellow Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, you are listening into this advice that we should get out there and bring our pain into the community, that it's the squeaky wheels that gets the oil.
And I'm telling you this, it's not going to be an easy thing to do. Anything worth fighting for takes a lot of pain, a lot of work, a lot of sweat. It's going to take a lot of work to make this happen. But to sit and do nothing and just complain, you can't do that. Do you hear what I'm saying? Yeah.
And I think I've seen the resiliency of you and other Cameroonians in the city, that you're not letting it go. You have the interim president come and visit, and you protest, and you come to the city council meeting. Yes, we can file a motion, but I think it's, and if you want to, I know we will, and we'll get a letter from the mayor on behalf of the council, but I also think that social media component can be very efficient, and I think can be very instrumental in getting the message out. Because how do you get the message out nowadays? I think that's the way.
Yeah, that's your vehicle. That's your vehicle to go all over to get these things done. See?
And I would like to thank you, both of you, very much, because any dignitaries that come here in Lowell, I mean, you put in your precious time to come and see and talk to them. I remember when I invited Professor Anyangwe from South Africa and Barrister John Fruso from Cameroon. They came to this studio. Both of you were there to welcome them.
That's right.
And that really, I mean, that shows the compassion, how much that you don't stand on the sideline. I see that you suspend all other things. I know you are very, very busy by taking care of issues that pertains to all of us here in Lowell, and you are still able to take time. When I invite you to come and welcome these people to our city, it really warms my heart, and I can only say thank you so very much for what you do for everybody. And also, while I have you here giving me the wisdom and also helping my viewers, I would also take this wonderful opportunity to also talk to my brothers and sisters, Ambazonians, because we who have been so privileged to live in this peaceful country, some people are so negative and use the pen to send out discouraging message that can, instead of us uniting, we find ourselves that we are fighting each other when the real enemy is killing our people on the ground in Cameroon. So I am calling on our brothers and sisters here and around the world that we should learn from America. America has many parties, the independents, the Republicans, the Democrats. They can quarrel, dispute ideas, but when they go out like one. But when I see our own people, they write negative things about each other in public, it will discourage someone like you who is willing to help us to read that, instead of us in these countries uniting so that we can do something to save the lives in Cameroon. We are busy accusing each other and writing bad things against each other. I just hope that you can see in former councillors and former mayors, Rita Mercier and Rodney Elliott, that they are taking their time. They could have been somewhere, but they are talking about Ambazonians. These are people that they have not seen, and that they're thousands of miles away. So thank you so very, very much.
Well, we have seen this country that you're talking about. We have seen the people, and we've seen them through you. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes,
so we know them through you. Yes, we do.
Thank you, thank you. As we speak, I think this question really touches my heart, and it says that the army of the French Cameroon has burnt hundreds of villages, schools, hospitals, and forced hundreds to flee to the bushes and refugees in Nigeria. What could be done to get American media to cover the killings? I know that you have touched on this, but if there are other any other thing that you can tell our people, it will be welcome.
Too bad we didn't have some group of people like the Peace Corps that would go over there and offer, shelter and guidance and help to the people that are fleeing the country. That's too bad we couldn't figure out what we could do to lessen their burden, that maybe we could set up places in Nigeria so that the people have a place to go when they escape. After all, they're leaving behind their homes, their memories, their families. It's not everybody escapes. There's people that die. We forget about people are left behind. So if we could have a group of people that would help them when they go over and escape that, I don't know if that's happening, if there's anything like that. I don't know.
Well, I think so. Just what you are doing right now, talking to the international community, because this video will be watched around the world. It will go to inform people that you are here in Lowell, but you are concerned about what is happening in Cameroon, that people watching this, they should also do it in their little way, any way that can save life and bring hope to the people of Ambazonia is really welcome. But I would equally thank both of you, because you have always been present during our flag raising. You see, under the rain or sun or snow, you've always been with us. And when once we see you, and not only doing that, you encourage our kids to live up to that expectation.
Yeah, that's good. That's our duty.
So again, thank you very much, and we are almost wrapping up. And what else can the City Council do to put pressure on the government of Cameroon to end the war and put back her army from get back her army from Bamenda and the Southern Cameroon? Any ideas that could be done so that can put pressure on the government of Cameroon to stop this senseless killing? Because I remember in 1994, it was President Clinton who said of Rwanda, when 800,000 people were slaughtered, that never again, never again. But there's a quiet and a silent genocide that's going on in the Southern Cameroon now, and the world is not doing anything.
Well, we can send letters as we talked about, but I also think when there are international atrocities taking place, it's the Secretary of State, it's the ambassador, and I think Council Mercier just mentioned it. You know, a couple of us here can do something, but maybe it's a whole delegation. Maybe it's you know, a group of people visiting, because you've got to me, you got to be able to say you saw it with your own eyes, and you know, maybe that's a way to do it, to get access, a visa to go. And we talk about the national media and getting attention. What can we do in the City Council? We're open to do anything that we can. And I'm not saying we've exhausted everything that we can do, but to call attention, you know, this thing is probably the most powerful thing that we can use these days. But in Lowell, Massachusetts, I don't know. Council Mercier, it's not easy.
No, it isn't. It takes a lot of work.
When these atrocities are taking place, it's just unconscionable that, you know, I know they take place around the world, but it seems that we shouldn't have to wait for another Rwanda for the U.S. government to act. So certainly putting a motion and sending letters, having documentation is also helpful from people who, you know, I'm sure there are non-governmental organizations in Cameroon, NGOs that have collected data and information. I think that would be helpful to get to myself and Council Mercier when we bring this to the floor, that this is how many deaths, this is how many villages being burned. And I know the pictures that I saw way back at the peace rally, helpful. I think the symbolism of the flag that's being shown, a dove, with the stars, I think that's reflective of the movement that, you know, you're trying to bring forward, that we're not advocating violence, but violence is taking place and we need intervention. Maybe it's the United Nations, the Security Council.
Oh, thank you very much. Actually, a delegation of congressmen and women went to visited Cameroon last year, led by Karen Bass of, I think, California.
Oh, that's wonderful.
They went actually in Bamenda. They came with horror stories. And I think those are some of the stories that influence the government or President Trump to take those moves that they're taking against.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. And if I may too, I think Lowell is not strange in this. You see, Lowell and the City Hall in particular has been very, very generous, like what Lowell did to the people of Cambodia. So you have, Lowell has a long history of reaching out to people who are suppressed and killed around the world. So when I listen to both of you speak, I know that you speak from, you are coming with that experience, that having our friends, I have friends here that are from Cambodia, they tell me about the atrocities that happen in Cambodia, what we are equally going through now. And you, having visited Cambodia, you have that that knowledge to be able to, that experience, yes.
Do you have any family over there, Fru?
Oh, yes, my brothers and sisters, some of them, many of them are in the bush. Some have fled. You call, you never can get anyone. So the phone will be ringing. You don't know whether.
That's sad.
Everything
That's
we
sad.
just, every Ambazonian out of the country is touched somehow or another. Yes.
Gee.
But right now, we just want the world to know, because as we speak, the government is actually burning schools and forcing people to vote and bringing people who are not residents in these areas to come and vote, which is really, I don't know how that can be explained in to the world, that this is unjust, that you can bring people from elsewhere to come and plant them in an area so that they can vote, you take pictures and send around the world. There are not even international monitors that are allowed in.
I was going to ask, are there any other countries that are monitoring the
That's what
electoral system, or they're not allowing them to come in and monitor?
They are not allowing them to come because of the country is so close in such a way that, I mean, the atrocities are just overwhelming. I think what someone from this, that I'm saying, I'm just getting this from someone from Bamenda. He said that the situation on the ground is so dire that the French government of Biya, President Biya, knows that they have lost the Southern Cameroons.
And
So they want to destroy.
Can I just ask you to explain to the viewers why this almost civil war is taking place? Because many of the viewers probably don't know, and if I remember correctly, the country is split in two because of natural resources, and it's in large part because of the access to, through the sea, through the port, to get the oil.
Well, thank you very much for asking that question. It's also an opportunity for me to tell our non-Ambazonian, non-Southern Cameroonian viewers. To begin with, Cameroon was a colony of the Germans, who were one Cameroon. So the Germans had many territories, Togoland, Cameroon, they were under the Germans. But when the Germans were defeated in the World War, then Cameroon was split into two parts. One part went under the trusteeship of the British. The other part went to the trusteeship of the French. So that's French Cameroon. The part that was administered by the British had a democratic system like what we have here. So they had like a parliamentary system like what they have in England, and led by a prime minister. So from 1953 to 1961, when we're supposed to have our independence, they had three successive governments peacefully. That was the first democratic country in Africa. On the French side, they never experienced that. They had nothing but a dictatorship. So in the 60s, United States and 64 other countries voted at the UN for the English Cameroon to have its independence. But what happened was that that option of independence was not granted. So there were two choices, either to have your independence by joining Nigeria, or you have your independence by joining the French Cameroon. So since the English Cameroon had had a bad experience in Nigeria,
Right.
the northern part of English Cameroon voted to join Nigeria, but the southern part of English Cameroon, which is today the Republic of Ambazonia, voted to join with the French Cameroon, who they had their independence in 1st of January 1960. And that country was named the Republic of Cameroon. And then the English Cameroon was supposed to have its independence 1st of October 1961. Since they were not given that option, they joined the French Cameroon to form a Federal Republic of Cameroon with the flag green, red, yellow with 2 stars, that you will maintain your English system of government, the French will maintain their own system of government. But what happened was that they found all the resources, the riches, the oil were found in the English part of Cameroon, which is only 20%, about 9 million people. It's a big place, 9 million people. So when they found this oil, what the French Cameroon is 80% of the population. They said they are going to organize a referendum. 8 million as opposed to 16 million people. When there's a referendum, the 16 million will just win. So they united the country, changed the name of the country now from Federal Republic of Cameroon, which in the Constitution is stipulated that it should never be changed, to a United Republic of Cameroon. And since then, since it is united, the French Cameroon had all control over the resources of the English Cameroon. They started marginalizing, they took everything. And then the current president in 1984, he finished by assimilating the English Cameroon by changing the name back to the French Republic name, Republic of Cameroon. And then, since then, they will send French teachers to the English side, send French administrators to the English side, because their intention was to completely assimilate the English side so that their identity will be perished.
Okay.
Last year, the current president, in a debate in France, he openly said that that was his intention. His intention was to assimilate the English Cameroon so that they will lose their identity. And in November of 2017, he waged war on the English Cameroon so as to completely defeat. He thought that he was going to defeat the English Cameroon in 3 months. It has gone to 3 years now, and then the amount of killing has gone so much. So that is in a nutshell. In a nutshell, those are the 2 Cameroons. Okay. And you look at it in the real sense, it's like the French Cameroon and the English Cameroon, I would term it as twins.
Right.
That came from the Germans. Just because you were born 1 minute and you weigh 12 pounds, and then the other twin brother came after you and weighed only 4 pounds, doesn't mean that you have to, you have to assimilate and get his own rights. So I hope my viewers have a little bit of that background history. So I think it is a privilege, and I want to thank both of you again for spending your time to share your concern and why you advocate for the people of Southern Cameroon, and that peace should come sooner than later. Is there any other thing that you would like to leave to your audience in Cameroon and here in America and around the world to take home?
Sure. Well, thank you, Fu, for having us. It's you're an honorable person, and it's a pleasure to be here and to work with you on behalf of so many Cameroonians. The message to you, say we have fans. Well, maybe you're our fans, because we're here to help you. You know, in Massachusetts we have this saying. It's called Boston Strong. We have it. We can use Lowell Strong, but for people, just be strong. Finish strong. You know that you have voices here in the United States to advocate for democracy and to you know, to be a voice anytime that we can. So I think that's what we can say, and we're not going anywhere. We're here to help you. So don't quit, and thank you.
Thank you. Said very well, Councillor Elliott. My message to the people in Cameroon is to please don't give up. Please say prayers. I never underestimate the power of prayer. Please, you have a cause, stick with it, and do the best you can to overturn this. You might think that it is not possible, but if you look and hear of the history of David and Goliath, well, you have a Goliath here in front of you, but be that David that'll conquer this and win. You can always overturn it. Don't give up. We're here for you. We'll do whatever we can. And we're just two people, but I'm sure that around the United States, if you could get that support that we're giving you here, there's strength in numbers. Don't ever forget that. And so I will pray for your country. I know it's very sad. You have a personal interest in it, but this is our country. We try to make it well for you, and we feel that we want your country to be the same. Our heart is broken. It goes out to you, so please don't give up. And that's the message that I have. It's been wonderful to be here with you, Fru. Honest to God, we're doing the best we can, and we do a little bit each day, and if we can help in any way, we will. Thank you so much.
And thank you very much. I am just one voice, but to have you standing with me and standing with the people of Southern Cameroon and also known as the Republic of Ambazonia, we know that there's hope on the horizon. And I want to thank you very much, but don't go, because the people in Bamenda, you know, when I told them that you were coming on this
always
show,
come with gifts.
Yes, this is actually from Bamenda. This is a Southern and Ambazonian woman with a mortar and the stick. So you know the mortar they use to pound fruit. It is made out of clay. And Councillor Rita, this is for you.
Much, thank you. You know what they say? Walk softly and carry a big stick. That's what they say. So thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate
You're
it.
very welcome. And then Councillor Elliott, this is a warrior, and a traditional warrior with a calabash full of wine and also a stick. So they send this just to give it to you, that when you put it in your house, you will be thinking of them, and that since you have been fighting for them thousands of miles away, they will never forget you, and they would want you to get this so that you can think of them always.
That is so kind of you. Thank you. You know that you got two warriors right here.
Yeah.
And this is very nice. It really is.
So
You always come with gifts, and we're humbled by it, and we're going to keep fighting the fight, as they say.
Well, and again, thank you very much. It is an honor for me, and I know that the people watching around the world, and particularly from the Southern Cameroon and Ambazonia, This is Lowell, your sister city, and these are the people that make things happen here in Lowell. They've always advocated for you, and it is an honor and a privilege. And now you can see that they have taken their precious time to speak on your behalf, so that this message can touch someone somewhere in the world to also do something to bring peace to Cameroon. And on that note, I would like to thank LTC for giving me this opportunity to be able to bring good people to advocate on your behalf. I would also like to thank our technical engineer behind, Steve Manik. Thank you so very much. And the executive director of Lowell Telecommunication, Wendy Blom, who's been very passionate. And I cannot end by also thanking the wonderful people of Lowell and all the city councilors who have always stood by Bamenda. Again, thank you very much, and it is an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, with the help of God, maybe someday we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Okay.